Test. Put a one if I sound okay. Can you guys hear me nice and clear? Let me stop this music. You guys hear me okay? Awesome, awesome. Well, the link is already there if anybody wants to join me. But I want to say the prayer for tonight. And tonight's prayer is called Earthworms, a, a prayer for grace. And it says, the lowly worm transforms the earth, God, borrowing and casting it aerates and fertilizes the soil. So you, in your humble incarnation as man, transform the world. You offer to fill us with faith and to redeem us with forgiveness. Though we desperately require your grace, we are reluctant. Our pride and prosperity impede us. Yet you steadfastly extend your love, lavishly and unconditionally make us recognize our need, sanctify, enrich, and transform us by your divine grace. Amen. God resisteth the proud, but giveth grace to the humble. James 4:6. And there's my Dola. I'll see you, Dola. Um, so let me check to make sure that's you. Let's see. How come it's not letting me check? Okay, I see it's you. Hello, Dola. I'll see you.
OCO.
Hello, Yellow Shirt Dad. Thank you for coming. Lisa D, hello. Roxanne, hello. Polarin, hello. Who did I miss? Oh, Sandy. Sorry about that, hon. You're way up there at the top already. Hello.
Is that Sandy's homestead? Oh, Sandy
No,
Robinson.
that's Sandy, my friend
Yeah.
Sandra Sandy Robinson.
Yeah.
Hello, Nate. Yeah.
Hey, Nate Dog.
So how is everybody
Hello.
tonight?
I appreciate you stopping by my channel. Sorry it turned into a English tea party.
Hi, Jeffrey. Hello, and thank you for coming. And anybody's welcome on the panel. And I want to say a small prayer, if you guys don't mind, real quick, for the homeless. Lord, I pray that you make sure they have a safe place to be, are protected from the weather, have water and food, and please watch after them, Lord. In Jesus' holy name I pray. Amen. But yeah, I've been jumping around to channels. So I have the homeless really strong on my mind tonight. Some things being said about them are negative, and some things are not a positive, but an empathy towards them. And I can feel that empathy because, as you know, Dola, I've been there. I've been through all that. And I get a little bit frustrated, I guess, because people say, or some people say, well, they should not be in the middle of the street. They shouldn't be here. They shouldn't be there. They're always being run off from everywhere that they do try to be. And my question is, if they can't be in a city where they can get to the facilities that they need to get to, and they can't be out in the forest or public lands because they're being run off, where are they supposed to be? Obviously, I'm not saying this about
Out of
all
sight, out of
homeless.
mind. That's
Well,
the
no, that's not true. Because even when they escape off into a middle of a field somewhere where there isn't people, they're harassed and run off.
yeah.
Where are the,
We have 3 homeless encampments up in Huntsville, and we don't know who did it, but somebody went in and burned it down. So all
but
those people had to move to another location.
right, but you know how difficult. Okay, if you have a car, it might be a little easier when you're homeless to get to the facilities you need, to go someplace to get food, or if you need a shelter to get to that shelter. It's a little easier when you have transportation. But a lot of homeless are old, decrepit, achy pain. I mean, it's hard to live on that road. It's hard on your body and it's hard on your mind and your physical body. And then they're being run away from the areas where they need to be closer to those facilities. And when you're carrying everything you own, I mean, I don't agree with a lot of things that some homeless do. Okay, I'm not their judge and jury either. But have a little respect about yourself and your surroundings, and you probably wouldn't get harassed as much. That's just my opinion. Now, you look at these homeless in LA where they're obviously, raiding dumpsters and garbage cans and then piling all that stuff around themselves. That's ridiculous, in my opinion. I
I have
mean,
money for you. I have money, and I dumpster dive. It's
yeah,
it's perfectly
but
good food that it's such a waste when it could go to, like
Sarah,
jobs,
I understand
or
that. I understand that. But these people that are bringing sofas and furniture, and it's not food that they're going to consume, it is garbage that they are just piling around them. And then the city has to deal with that garbage. They aren't using that furniture and that stuff. They're just making a big mess. That I don't agree with. It's litter. It looks ugly. It looks nasty. Now, if it's something they could use, something that they need, I totally understand. I've been homeless, you know, and I knew that, hey, I wasn't going to be able to stay in one place. So why the heck am I going to gather all this stuff and build it around me and cause an issue for myself? It's like it's like a camper, leave no trace. Well, it's the same way with somebody with respect for themselves as a homeless. That's all I'm saying. There's no need for that kind of mentality when they're trying to survive. That's not trying to survive. That's causing an issue for yourself. But I do have an issue with people saying, well, they don't belong here or they don't belong there. And you see these tents lined along the buildings and stuff. I do have empathy for that because, as I said, there's it's hard. It's a hard life. It's hard on your body. It's hard mentally and physically both because it's a dangerous life. And especially if it's a female and an older female living out there, you have to be alert. You can't sleep a sound night in that condition and feel safe. I mean, so I don't know, but I've been hearing a lot of things, and then I've been hearing that there's reports of homeless people complaining about that they want eco-friendly food. BS. That's just my opinion. I don't think that there is any homeless out there going, I want eco-friendly food. They might be going, I want food, I want water, I want things that are going to make me live. But I do not, in no form, think they're crying and complaining about the food that they are getting, as long as it's food that's edible. I mean, believe me, I was so hungry at one point when I was homeless. I ate out of a McDonald's garbage can, and it had cigarette ashes and cigarette butts all in it. And I had to pick that cigarette butts out and brush the ashes off just enough to get a hamburger out of a garbage can. And nobody was helping me, and people would say, get a job. Well, you know what? For a female, and a young female at that, I tried to get many jobs. I tried detailing trucks. I tried cleaning houses. But usually it was a man asking me to do it. And you know what? Usually that man wasn't wanting his house cleaned. And it put me in a very dangerous situation. It wasn't that I didn't want to work. And then again, there's the situation of, if you can't get proper cleaned, if you can't take a bath and wash your clothes because you don't have the finances to do that, who's going to hire you? Who's going to give you a job? I was fortunate enough that when I was in the LA area, I had somebody help me and let me clean my clothes and shower. And then I went in and I put a job in Southgate, California, when there was an airplane factory there, and I started working building airplane parts for a while.
So,
It
so
doesn't last
where did
if you
they
don't.
move all those people from Skid Row? Because
Where they
they were getting ready to. It was recently on the news. They were talking about how they were moving them all out of Skid Row.
they do it all the time. They do it all the time, and those people come right back. But what is making it hard on the people that are trying to be decent, even though they're homeless, and keep their areas clean. What makes it hard is the ones that don't, and the ones that are, excuse me, on drugs or total alcoholics and have no kind of respect for themselves. You know,
You know,
that,
I take offense to that. It's not that
well,
they don't respect themselves. It's a they feel hopeless. You know, they don't see any way out. Nobody
that's
chooses to be an alcoholic. Nobody chooses to be a drug addict. You know,
right.
it's a
And I'm
gradual
saying,
thing. You know,
it's not necessarily the drug things. It's when they just totally give up on everything. Because just because you're on drugs or just because you're alcoholic doesn't mean you can't go to a shelter and at least bathe. Go into a bathroom. Do you know how many bathrooms? When I was homeless, Sarah, I went into public, the restrooms for the public when you're walking down the street, any of them that had a bathroom with a running sink. And I took a bar of soap and a wash rag and I cleaned myself. I washed my hair in the sink. I had some respect about myself, even homeless. If I got a little bit of change, I took my clothes and I washed them. It was more important for me, and I'm speaking just to myself, to have morals and pride in myself, and that. But I was never an alcoholic, so I don't. My thought wasn't to take every bit of money I have and go buy a bottle or to go buy drugs, because I didn't have that kind of mentality. But I do have empathy for them. And it really frustrates me when people say, well, they don't belong here or there. Where are they supposed to go? Hi, Mona. Welcome in, hon. And so, if anybody has an opinion on this subject, you can come up and tell me your opinion. No problem. I would love to
all right,
hear
well, all
people
right, well, like
give
in
their
Philly, in Philly, there's an area. I can't remember what the name of the street is. It's called a particular street. Um, they've got it almost looks like Skid Row. I mean, it's that many people out there homeless. Now, the
Hmm.
majority of them are drug addicts. You know, they get out there and they're not leaving like dirty needles laying around. They actually do clean up the streets. Like the storefronts will let them hang out in front of their stores because they sweep the sidewalks.
Hmm.
They're at least trying to keep their homeless area clean, even though they're
Yeah.
totally strung out on this new designer drug that's out there that is causing their skin to rot, and they got big sores on them, and you know it's a fentanyl tranquilizer combination. It's some new drug that's out there,
Wow, that's
and these
so
people,
bad.
they're losing limbs and everything from the skin's just rotting away. You know, but they get out there, they sweep the streets, they pick up their trash. But they're out there panhandling for drug money and alcohol money. But a lot of them, like others, they're homeless just because situations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Life hit
But
them,
there's a
and
lot of
that's where they
homeless
end up.
out there. There's a
There
lot of
too.
homeless out there that do have incomes. They just don't have enough income to live in a home or to have an apartment. Or even if they could get the home or the apartment, they can't afford to pay the bills on top of that. And so
Exactly.
I just watched a guy doing a video. He builds houses or does something with houses. He said he makes $20 an hour, and he still, wherever he was at, he still couldn't afford to not be homeless. And isn't that something? Is somebody who is a construction worker or whatever making $20 an hour still cannot afford a home? He's homeless, and it's hard to keep a job when you're homeless, when you
Hmm.
don't have the proper facilities to keep up with yourself. And
Well, like I
I
told
do.
you, my family, they're all living in one house down in Florida because they're
Yeah.
living in the one house that is paid off. None of them can afford to go get their own houses or
Well,
even an
some people
apartment.
can get along enough to do that. I would never want to live in one house with my family. Let me tell you, it would never happen.
Now, my
We
brother's
would.
been living with my brother-in-law for dang since 2015. I mean, luckily they get along, but it was him and his two daughters, plus the granddaughter was living there, plus his own two kids were living there.
A lot of
And
families been doing that.
yeah,
Yeah, a lot of families do that just to get by.
I mean, you do what you got to do. I mean, everybody wants to throw out that the way the Mexicans all live together. It's like you never know. I mean, my
Yeah,
family's if you want to use that standard, that's pretty much the way my family's living. And I keep telling them,
that,
if you can afford to live in Florida, move out of Florida. The
no.
rents where I'm living are less than what our electric bill was down in Florida.
But if you got an influx in people that are looking for places to live, it's going to be like anywhere else. The rent is going to go up because these people know that they can raise their rent and still get it because there's that many people looking for a place to live until eventually everybody's having trouble even where you're at, if that
Yeah,
makes any sense.
yeah.
Sandy says deposit first month's rent, last month's rent, and the second month's rent comes due quickly. And then you've got like your power, your water, your garbage.
And they all
Um,
want security deposits, especially if you've never had anything in your name before. You have to come
exactly.
up with security deposits, and those could run you, for your lights, your water, your cable. That could run you anywhere between $800-900, depending on where you live. Now,
Yes.
some of them,
Like I said,
like the electric company down in Florida, if you pay your bill on time for a full year, you do get that deposit back. And then you start telling them, Can I have a couple extra days?
Yeah.
You just got to get through that first year.
Yeah, and then you have squatters and there's such a big thing going on with the homeless right now. And then with these news articles and stuff that are being put out, I guess, about them, I've gone to a couple channels, and that's what got me on this subject because I've been there, and it just really frustrates me because I mean it frustrates me for the homeless because I have been there. I know what a struggle it is to do anything, and how scary and how dangerous and how it just will wear your body down. And then to have the news articles turning people that are in homes against the homeless is so wrong when they should be encouraging all of us to do what we can when we can to help them in whatever way we can. The other day I've got an extra sleeping bag in my shed, and I told Kenny, I said, put that in your truck. And the next time you see somebody walking around that don't have nothing, give it to them. Give them that sleeping bag so at least they have something to bundle up in at night. Um, it I know that ain't much, but it's something. And if everybody would just do something for
Well,
someone.
Victoria, you know that you know that place that I'm always talking about that they call it Fish Trap, which
Yeah,
is way up at the top of the mountain, and
yeah,
it's they're just broken down trailers, no electricity, no water, no windows in these trailers, and they have
hmm
the most spectacular view from the top of that mountain, you know. But when I run into somebody that's going through the program and they know that that's a place where they can go hang out at, where they can sleep on the ground or whatever. I always, if tents and stuff are on sale, I'm always grabbing them up, and I give them everything that they need. I give them tents, I give them sleeping bags, I give them cooking utensils, I give them the little Coleman stove things there so they can cook. And then they can go to the little local, they can either go to the church or they can go to the Covenant House and scrap together whatever food they can, but they do work as a community up there, you know.
yeah. Um,
And
it,
so, I mean, I'm trying to do my part,
yeah,
but
and I mean, like I said, if everybody would just do, like I said, all I have is a sleeping bag in there that I'm not using, that is in there. We could give that. I can give that because that's what I've got. I can give that to somebody who has nothing. And
yeah,
that's something. It's not a lot, but it's something. And
yeah,
if everybody had that kind of thought, hey, I have this in here and this would work for a homeless person and I'm not using it, let me take this and give it to the next homeless person I see that has nothing. I'll just stick it in my truck, take it with me, and when I see somebody, I'll give it to them. As for Marie's comment about the credit score, how do you build a credit score if you're homeless? You have no credit score when you're homeless. You have no way to build a credit score when you're homeless. So
yeah. Homeless people don't usually have great credit scores.
yeah,
I mean,
so
I have a zero credit score.
I'm not homeless, but I don't have a good credit score.
Yeah,
I mean, I've got good credit. I mean, but it's like if they checked with my landlords, they're going to say, "Hey, she was an awesome, always paid on time." And if they checked with my bills, yeah, she's awesome, never missed a payment, always paid on time. I mean, but I'm not homeless. When you're homeless, you don't have that, and you don't have a way to build that.
yeah,
You have to have something to do that. Uh, Not all of them. No, if they're young and healthy enough to work, they're not eligible um, for social services. And plus, a lot of the time, people don't realize this, but you actually have to have an address to get help from welfare.
Yep.
You have to have a physical address that you can give to them, that so that they can send you mail. Um, and they don't accept PO boxes. You have to have a physical address, and I do know that. So the homeless aren't eligible for that. They have to have an address. You know, it's they're stuck. They're just simply stuck. They need a job, and a lot of them just honestly don't want that job. There's a lot out there that just don't, and those that do won't have the job long, because if you can't get the rest you need and be safe to get that rest, you have to feel safe to be able to rest a full night. At least 7 8 hours is what a body needs of rest to be mentally there. And you can't do that when you're worried and scared all night long. So it's really hard for even those who that want to work. They might get the job for a little while, but they're going to lose the job quickly because they're not getting enough rest. They're worried about their belongings. They can't take care of their hygiene properly. There's a lot of different reasons. Let's see what's only services set up specifically for homeless people are helping them, and individuals who have a heart for helping them. Yeah, there is shelters and food banks and things like that for the homeless.
But
But
people aren't
that,
donating to the food banks either.
huh?
It's the food. I know the food banks here. They're tapped out. Nobody's donating.
Yeah, it's like right now with they aren't using the word, but I am recession
Mhm.
because of the high cost and everything. Um, yeah, it's nobody's donating, and there's more people going to the food banks that normally didn't go. People who live in homes are going to the food banks because they're getting strapped
Do you know
with
how
these
many
high.
people? I mean, I was watching a video down in Orlando, Florida. How many families are full-time
Hi,
residents in
Guardian.
motels? And
Guardian, join us.
this one particular guy actually works for Disney, but he's only making $8.50 an hour.
Yeah,
And luckily,
that
the motel where this lady does have empathy, and it's like, pay me whatever you can this week for your room and board. But it's like him, his wife, and 5 children living in a 2-bed, you know, motel room. But he
this
gets
is
dressed
true.
every day, he goes to his job at Disney, making minimum, less than minimum wage actually. And, but there's a lot of families that are living in motels. But the motels here, I mean, you're talking about even for the snake pits, they want anywhere between 80 or 90 and $120 a week. And it's like,
Hello,
that's more
oil
than I
man.
pay. That's more than
Hillbilly
I pay
chicken
rent.
ranch. Sorry, Sarah. Trying to say hi
Hey,
to people.
Guardian.
Listen. Yeah, Tether, come on up. Carry on. Do you, but Sandy just pointed out something that I had forgotten, and she's right. Most food banks even require you to bring a utility bill or to prove that you live in that general area. Now, there have been some that only ask for your ID, but you know what? To get an ID, you have to have an address. You can't even
Yeah,
get an ID, an identification, unless you have a physical address.
yeah. It is a vicious cycle.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I feel so bad for them, Sarah. And like I said, I've been going to channels and hearing both sides of it, and I felt like I needed to say something, and I'm hoping that people will. Hello, Stephen. Thank you for coming in. I'm just hoping that people will think about it and have a little empathy to the plight of the homeless instead of looking and going, well, I don't want them in my neighborhood, or they look that looks god awful, or saying something degrading. Oh, Skid Row, look at all the tents, on Skid Row and the trash and stuff.
Hmm.
Not all of them are part of that trashy look. Some of them are just simply trying to survive, and some of them are just too old to do anything about it. They just simply want to be close enough to the shelters where they can go in and have a meal, get a shower, you know. And a lot of times, if they drink or they do drugs, the shelters won't take them in. They tell them, "Oh no, you can't do that here." And so, though though that is not a good thing to be an alcoholic or a drug addict, it's beyond. They need more help than what they're getting. They need counselors, but again, it's kind of hard there because a lot of them just simply don't want the help, even when it's offered them. They won't
Guardian.
take it. What?
She said, Guardian said any one of us could be homeless at any moment.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so it doesn't matter. Like I said, I've got stuff that I'm gonna be doing a yard sale. I mean, but some of that stuff, like the sleeping bag, can be given to a homeless, and it's gonna stay in my tent or in my shed until I find a homeless to give to. I'm not gonna sell it. I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna give that to a homeless person. Most of the other stuff is that I'm gonna be selling isn't something that the homeless can use. So I will sell those things. But if you have something that you really know a homeless person in your area could use it, please put it in your car. I don't care if it's just one thing and one homeless. That's still one thing and one homeless. And that's just my opinion anyway.
Well,
So if anybody,
that's where I get a little miffed about the situation I'm in here, because I do help them out, and I get a lot of grief about it. About how I shouldn't be going up around those people. The usual stuff. But yet, the same person who complains about me helping others, him and his motorcycle group took a ride out to that homeless encampment and did a Hogwarts for them, and then patted themselves on their back for their good deed that they did for the day. And I wanted to punch him in the nose. I really did.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I like what Sanders. Somebody says, is it this one? They say that over half the homeless uh, choose to be that way. Well, here's Sandy's Sandy's comment to that. I love it. It's true.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to have
So
a license.
right, and that's when it's a choice, though, is what I'm saying. That's when it's a choice. When they choose to live in a van, a truck, ambulance, converted versions, or trailers, you know, yeah, then that's a choice. But these ones that are pitching a tent on a sidewalk, I don't think they're choosing that life. I think it's a situation of circumstance, and
Yeah. And
sometimes
there
it's drugs. What
there
was that?
actually is. There's a sense of, like I said, like that group that's up there on Fish Trap. They're their own community. they help each other out. You know, somebody's got food, and they'll they have like a big fire pit, and everybody comes together and they eat a meal together, or whatever. Um, they I'm trying to think of how to say this. The ones that are living in tents, they have a respect for each other, even though we're talking about people that are drug addicted or alcoholics or whatever. They do have a sense of respect for that person's property. They would never go into that person's tent and steal from them. There's a saying, there's no honor amongst thieves, but they will not steal from each other. They do look after each other if they see that one of them's. They were showing the bridge where it's nothing but Narcan. Things of Narcan hanging because there's so many overdoses. So if somebody overdoses, you can go to any part of that bridge and grab one of them bags and Narcan your friend. You know. So I mean, that particular state, they are trying to help people out in that sense, but they do need some rehab centers. That aren't like Malibu style. For the rich and famous.
Mhm.
People complain because they're turning motels into places for these homeless people. You know,
Yeah.
and it's like,
If anybody
you
wants
want
to
them off the
talk on
street.
this,
Somebody's asking, somebody's offering their motel to put some of these people up. So stop complaining about them.
yeah, that's what I
Mm-hmm.
was saying, Guardian, that some of them do need medical and mental help, but will not accept it. And you and probably I'm thinking that's probably out of fear. They're afraid that they're going to be turned in for their drugs addictions and end up in jail. So some of them might be thinking that. But yes, a lot of them need that kind of help. I'm sorry, Nate. You're sitting there all quiet, not saying
Yeah,
nothing.
no, I'm just listening.
You have any input yourself? No.
Nope.
Okay. Would you choose to be homeless? And if you was homeless, what would you do?
I don't know if I would choose to.
What would you
Hmm.
do if all of a sudden you couldn't afford to live where you're living?
Well, depending on if I still have my job, then I'll live in my camper
Where would you take your camper? If your camper couldn't sit where it's sitting, where would you take it?
somewhere. I don't know
See?
where I could.
Even staying in a campground. I mean, that's expensive. The
Yeah.
campground
Hmm.
that I usually go to, it used to be $5 a night. Now it's $25 a night. And if you want
Hmm.
electricity and internet, it's 35. And I'm like, it's only been like 12 years since the last time I camped here, and the prices have gone up like that. So I usually just camp
Hmm.
overnight.
Guardian says, well, come up here, Guardian, and we'll have this conversation. Your mouth works. You can stay behind your avatar. Come put your 2 cents in. Sarah, tell her.
I don't think it's my day to boss Guardian around. I think it's Clarence.
Okay, hello, hon. Hi, Sandy.
Hello.
I
I
Sandy.
have
So
a heart for the homeless people. Hi,
you have,
sweetie. I have a big heart for people who are homeless because most of us are only a couple of checks away from being homeless.
Hmm.
that's true. Uh, I know how hard it is like I said, I was homeless from the age of 12 until I was 21. And just because I was homeless didn't mean I was lazy or didn't have pride in myself, because I took whatever kind of job I could find to take for as long as they would let me work. Um,
Hmm.
a lot of the time I worked with carnivals through, but I did other jobs. I motels, I cleaned motel rooms, I built airplane parts, I worked in the forestry service. I mean, I had so many jobs, but back then for me, my issue was I was 12 and I kept doing this until I was emancipated at 16. But I was going through so many jobs because they'd find out I was a minor and would, well, that was the end of that. And it only lasted maybe 2 weeks before they found out I was a minor. So, you know, it's it's just I feel so bad for them, and I get, even my husband. I hate to say it, but he's like, they don't belong there. They don't belong on the street right there, and da 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 da. And I'm like, where are they supposed to go? Where do they go? I mean, the government needs to get one on one with these alien people that I guess are from outer space, then, and tell them, hey, take our homeless to your planet and take care of them. I mean, because that's it's just crazy because everywhere they go, they're chased away. I watch videos all the time, and I see how they are just everything run over with bulldozers, everything. They ain't even given it really enough chance, and some of them are working and homeless, and they leave their tent there, and they come back and everything's bulldozed and gone after they've worked all day, you know. And
Hmm.
some of them, they get run out of cities, so they go out in the woods and try to hide themselves in the woods, and they make groups together, and then after a while the government is or whoever is stepping in then and running them out of there, and they've got nice like camps set up, and they're still being run out. So I guess that's what makes me the angriest, is that everybody's trying to say I don't want it here, I don't want it there. No,
I
it's
agree.
no, no, no. Well, okay, then figure out where they're okay. Where are they? And who's gonna pack up a trailer or whatever of food and supplies that these people need and take it to them, because you don't want them in your cities to where they can get to that kind of stuff. So are you going to deliver it to them? I mean, I just am frustrated. I'm angry and I feel bad for them.
Hmm.
Sorry, Sandy, I cut you off.
No, I agree with you on everything you're saying.
And we all, like I said, if all you can do is pull a blanket that's been in your closet and you don't use it, and pull that blanket out, put it in your car, and the
Hmm.
next time you see a homeless that has no obvious tent or blanket or nothing, give it to them. I mean, you'll feel good about it. If you can pack a lunch, peanut butter and jelly sandwich, even, and a bottle of water. Do you know how thankful a homeless person would be for that? I know I would have been. Just
Hmm.
to have water and a sandwich.
I agree.
Uh, I'm just running through the. Yeah, the working homeless could be any one of those people in a tent that you're seeing at the side of a road. And if it's really clean around that tent, then more than likely it's a working person that's not out there digging in the dumpsters and and building piles of furniture around them.
I think they do that because they want the furniture for when they get a home. Even though it's not logical, I think that's why they do that.
And those are the people that need mental health.
Yes, they do need they need mental health services, but as you said, you can't get a medical card if you don't have an address, and you cannot
Exactly.
use a post office box. And if
Yeah.
you don't have a medical card or some kind of medical coverage, nobody is going to help you with your mental health issues.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And ID, like you say, you can't even get an ID, a birth certificate, nothing without having the physical address to get those things. So
Yeah.
it's like they are seriously stuck.
Mhm.
Unless you can somehow not lose that stuff. When you, okay, like my stuff, I ended up feeling like absolutely nothing mattered that was a thing, an item, because my stuff had gotten stolen from me so
Mhm.
much back then that most of the time I would end up with nothing but the clothes on my back. If a person can somehow keep their ID, like you're going to be homeless, say you're in a house right now, well, tomorrow you're homeless. Hold on to that ID and that stuff that's very important, your ID, your birth certificate, your medical, whatever you have that you can stick in a bag and keep with you constantly. That's what's important to hang on to. A backpack full of clothing, um, and all of that other stuff, that's not as important because you can always get clothes somewhere. What was that, Sarah?
Oh, I just had to go get my other phone.
Um,
Turn the volume
but
down. Sorry about that.
You're
nothing
right. Identification is exceptionally important, and you have to have a driver's license to get your birth certificate. You have to have a birth certificate and a photo ID to get a social security card now. You have to have all of this stuff, so yeah, don't lose it.
Mhm. So yeah, I mean, and I found out how important that was back then, because everything was stolen from me. That was part of what was stolen from me because I kept it in with everything else that I was carrying with me. So when
Mm.
everything was gone, that was gone too. And sometimes circumstances, you can't help what happens to you. I had to escape, and if escaping with my life and losing everything was what I had to do, then that's what I did. And usually that's how I would lose it. And how I did lose my important paperwork was because I had to get away and I couldn't grab my stuff and get away at the same time. So it's very easy. Hello, Tim. Mo Bang for your back is in the house. Thank you for coming. It's
Hi, Tim.
really easy.
Mhm.
But it's not our place to judge,
No, it's
and
not.
it is our place to have empathy and
And to
compassion.
help, and to help if we can.
Yeah, and help. It don't matter how little you think it is. Any amount to help. Even a bottle of water, if you have only 2 bottles of water, God said, the Lord says, if a man asks you his cloak, give him your coat too. You know, other words, if somebody asks you for a coat, give him a pair of pants. You're supposed to give what you can and not be, oh no, this is mine and I can't give it up. When you've got 100 coats or 100 pairs of pants, you've got multiple, and you're going to down the road get tired of those things and get more anyway. So take some of those things that you've had for a long time and and you haven't pulled out, put them in a bag and take them to somebody who can use them. Because sometimes they can't get to a place to get it themselves.
Well, see, when I was growing up, we had a Salvation. We lived in the center of town. We had a Salvation Army box there, and us kids we would crawl into the Salvation Army box. That's where we got our school clothes, our winter coats. We would find all kinds of treasures in there, like jewelry and stuff like that were in pockets. Well, now they've got these things locked down. So even if these people wanted to do like when I was a kid, out of necessity, they can't even get into those boxes. So now they have like all these Salvation Army stores, but the Salvation Army isn't donating that money to the homeless and everything. People are donating that in good faith, thinking that the money is, whatever they're donating is going to be sold in the store and the money is going to go to help people. And it doesn't. It used to be, Salvation Army would help you out, if your lights were going to get shut off. They would pay a light bill for you, or they would give you a food voucher so that you could buy groceries. And that's just not the way it is anymore.
Yeah, I mean, even the food banks. Back when we were young, we got things that were healthy for us, like milk, cheese, butter. Yeah. You don't get those kind of things no more. You get
remain in the can.
Box of macaroni and cheese with no milk and no butter to make it. That's what you get.
Yeah. So but yet again, like you stated, Sandy, they can't even get that unless they have an address. They can't go to a food bank. So yeah, I don't know what got me. Like I said, I guess what got me on this rant about the homeless was because I've gone to some channels, and then I'm hearing how some kind of, I don't know, author was saying how the homeless hearing how they were complaining somewhere about wanting to have eco-friendly food. And when I heard that, I said BS. I said, I don't think there's one homeless person sitting there saying, I want eco-friendly food. They might be saying, hey, I want some food and a way to get it. But I do not believe that people are complaining about eco-friendly food. It's just whatever they can do to turn people who have no knowledge about the homeless against them is what they're going to do. Whatever bad they can say to put strife in between. It's like if you take a jar and you put black ants in that jar with some red ants, and you gently set that jar down on the table, they will not hurt each other. Okay? But if you take that jar and you shake it and then you put it down, they will start attacking each other and kill each other. And this is what I feel the news that is doing those things, and the people that are on TV saying things negative, they're putting these ants in a jar and they're shaking them up just so they'll go at each other.
Okay, do you want my 2 cents now?
Go ahead.
Okay, where I'm at, there is a number of homeless. We used to go out and take food to them 2 to 3 times a week. Somebody would make a home-cooked meal like chicken and rice, economical meals that they could afford to do, because people were all donating the money to do it with. Something put together for some kind of a salad, generally, some bread, water, food, this kind of stuff. There was people that worked with businesses that got bread and stuff like that donated. So they would hand out just loaves of bread to these people, because a lot of times they would use their food stamps and buy lunch meat and stuff like that. So now they had bread to go with it, to make their sandwiches and whatnot. There's a lot of stigma to being homeless. Some of it is normal, some of it isn't. where most of the stigma comes from is where the homeless are in the cities, because the cities look at it as being a sore spot, an eyesore on the community, and they don't like the way a lot of them set their tents up. It turns into trash after a while for a lot of them, and the city don't like it. The people in the neighborhood don't like it. Can't say that I blame them too much for that.
Mhm.
But here also, we have a homeless shelter. Anybody can go to it, male or female. Most of them here do not want to go to it and won't unless temperatures are way below freezing, because you stand a chance of whatever you take with you into that shelter will be stolen by somebody before morning.
Yeah.
And then you're out of that little bit also.
Or I
After
heard,
to go around and help with these people, I always, in the wintertime, I always carried a spare coat in my truck. And if I came across somebody and seen them out walking in freezing cold weather and with nothing but a t-shirt on, I would ask them if they needed a coat or would like a coat. And if they said yes, I gave it to them.
that's awesome.
Another big thing that people, homeless people use is tarps. If you can afford to buy a tarp once in a while, carry it with you. You see them out there. Summertime, they got the rain and stuff. Wintertime, they use these tarps for all different kinds of things. They use it as part of the shelter for their tents. They put it over the top of their tents to help keep the rain out. They also build up walls with them and what have you in the wintertime to help hold in heat, because they'll buy these little cooking burner stoves, these little single jobs that takes those little green tanks of gas to operate them. So in the wintertime, that's a biggie. It's getting those little green tanks of gas for them, because a lot of them use, that's the only heat they've got. If you've got spare blankets and stuff like that, yes, that's fine. The Salvation Army here, they can get a voucher from Catholic Services, and Salvation Army here will give them 2 sets of clothes. They will give them some cooking utensils if they need them, pot and spoons and that kind of stuff. And it's free. They're not charging them anything for them, and they can come in every so often and get that. We have several places here that have meal places set up other than what individual groups are doing. There's several churches here that has like a soup kitchen where people can go 2 or 3 times a week and get a meal, a hot meal. So there's all kinds of things that you can do, but you're also going to run into those. They like that lifestyle. And they'll tell you, no, I'm free living homeless. I don't have any bosses over me. I don't have to work a job 9 to 5 like you do, and, for sorry wages and this kind of stuff. I mean, their opinion of the situation is really bad.
Mhm.
But then you've got others that are very thankful for any help that they can get. There is a lot that has medical issues. There's a lot that have mental issues. They seem to fall through the cracks a lot, even though a lot of these people that I worked with was either on Social Security or was getting disability through Social Security. So they had income. A lot of them were also getting food stamps on top of that, but yet you would see them going around eating food out of garbage cans.
I've been there and done that.
They would rather sell those food stamps or trade them for cash. And when I was still working, it was a 2-for-1 deal. They would buy you $100 worth of groceries, or pay $100 on your grocery bill, whatever it was, for you to give them $50 cash in return. That's so they could buy their beer, their whiskey, their drugs, and that kind of stuff that, they knew they couldn't get without cash. The homeless shelter here also helps the homeless. They let them use the address of the shelter itself, and they will help them to get ID, birth certificate, and all this kind of stuff. So a lot of these problems just seem to be state to state, county to county. Who's willing to step up and do what to help these people? And there are plenty of them that will take the help. They want the help. They'll accept it, and they'll give you the biggest thank you you've ever had in your life.
Yeah, and back when I was homeless, I did throw a sign that said, "We'll work for food," and believe me, I meant it. I would work for food. But being a young lady at the time, like I said, I ended up in some bad situations because I believe the person wanted me to either clean that house or pull their weeds. But the minute I got in their car to go do that, it ended up being a different story.
Right.
And I ended up not making no money that day because of creepoids being nice about it.
Well, I don't know too if around the interstate where y'all are at, if you have homeless people that get out there and do what they call flying, asking for money, holding their sign.
We do
People
have
around here have got to where they get like the gallon size Ziploc bags,
Mhm.
and they'll put toiletries in it. They'll put a bottle of water in it. They'll put, a couple of packs of cookies, things like that, peanut butter cookies, something that's got some protein to it. And they'll hand them out to the people that's out on the interstate out there looking for money. Some people will still give them a couple of bucks on top of that.
Yeah,
And I'll tell you one thing that people really need to pay attention to. A lot of people think this is simply a men homeless situation. It's not. Once in a while, you'll come across an entire family that will be homeless, but there is a lot of women that are homeless also. They get overlooked a lot because women need other things that men don't. And I'm talking about the personal items here. So when they're making up these little goodie bags and stuff, women are getting left out altogether. If you got an old purse laying around you don't use anymore, donate that to one of them.
Mhm.
Something to keep their private stuff with them wherever they have to go. Because a lot of these people have to carry it in a Walmart shopping bag or something like that, which does not last long out in the weather.
Yeah.
Doesn't last long if you're carrying any weight in it. So it's just common sense things that people need to think about that could really be a big help to a lot of these people.
And I know it's a risk, and you really got to be careful. But if you find a person, okay, that really does want a job, but they don't have their ID, they don't have their identification that they need, and the information that they need to get a job, help them, or I don't know, let them use your address. I mean, just so that they can get their ID. I mean, I'm not saying take them and let them live with you, but let them use your address so that they can get their ID and their birth certificate, and let it be mailed to your house, and then set it up with that person. Where can I find you when this comes in the mail? And I'll bring you your information mailed to your house, and then set it up with that person. Where can I find you? Huh? What was that, Sandy?
Was an echo. I was trying to turn on something else so I can see chat too. I can't figure out how to see chat.
Okay.
I'll tell you.
Are you on your phone? Are you on your phone, Sandy?
Yeah, I'm on my phone and my tablets won't pick up chat. So
I don't know how to do it with that phone. I was gonna tell you go to your YouTube side, but I'm on a laptop. I go to my YouTube side, do the pop out chat, and I pull it over to the side. But
yeah, I'm gonna go clear back to the office to get the laptop. So,
but yeah, I mean, if you can find a person, get to know them, and trust them enough that you can get their or help them to get their ID, birth certificate, social security, and that stuff by using your address. And then I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying take them to your house, but use your address to help them get
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Why?
Do not do any such thing as that without checking your local laws first.
Why?
Because if you let somebody else use your address and they get mail at your address, they can legally come to your home and enter in.
Well, that's why I'm saying make sure you find some. I mean, I'm not saying just go out there and find, get somebody and say, I'm going to do that for you. No,
Well, I
I mean,
understand that, but I would not even let them use my address. There are places that will help them to get those type of things, like the homeless shelter. There's housing here for homeless people. Most of them will not go into that even because they have to live by rules
right.
and they don't want to follow those rules.
We have one male.
That's not the only reason. If it's a co-ed shelter, women get raped in there. Men get knifed in there. They're terrible. I mean, they're terribly dangerous places in the cities.
Yeah, they
Well,
are.
Here in my town in particular, we have one man shelter and one female shelter, and they're not that big. And we are getting more and more homeless here from other places now. So it's always full to the capacity. And they've got to be in there at a certain time and out of there at a certain time.
Right.
As you stated, it's not always safe, you know, for men or women. Their things can get stolen, they can get attacked because, there are people with mental issues that are going there. So, there's a lot of variables, but I did not think about the shelters and helping with them get their identification. Now, can they do that even if they're not staying at that shelter? Will the shelter help them even if they're not staying there?
Yes, they
They're
will
all
work on
different.
that.
They're all different.
Uh,
There are no services for homeless people here where we live, but Guardian's right. If I let somebody use my address and they get any mail here, then they legally live here. I have to allow them to come in and out as they please until I can evict them.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's not a good idea, at least here. I know she's right. That's the law here.
And I'll tell you something else. If y'all really want to know what it's like to be homeless or to see how they live, connect with one of them. Male,
well,
female,
there's one.
doesn't make any difference. Go
There's
fly
one-
with them, which is standing out on the interstate or standing out on a corner somewhere with their little sign asking for money. Do it. A lot of people are under
300.
the impression that they make millions of dollars standing out there begging all the time. Let me tell you
300.
this. I went out on the interstate for 2 hours every day for 5 days in the evening. 2 hours for 5 days. I would make anywhere from $10 to $20 a day. Now, we had a news person here go out locally, probably about 5-6 years ago now, and he made it sound and wrote up a story making it sound like these people just rake in hundreds of dollars every day. Well, I went out there on the street with one of them. I did it myself to see what kind of money they were actually making.
Space Miner has a comment. And then I want to hear from 300 because 300 is living in his car. And I want to know how he feels about that kind of life that he's in right now.
The shelter
what's
stuff is dangerous. I said that it was. But I'm talking about they have buildings here too where people can actually have a little apartment, to have their own stuff in and what have you. But they have rules in these places and the people don't want to follow those rules. Like if you're a male and they rented you a room, because most of these people are getting Social Security or some kind of benefit. So they do have to pay a small amount every month for that place. And the rest is all provided for free. But just say it's a male that came in and got this room or this apartment, he's not allowed to drink. A lot of these people are alcoholics. So they're automatically not going to stay there because they know they're not going to be able to drink. If they get caught sneaking it in and drinking anyway, they're going to get kicked out. They're not allowed to bring women in. So
Yeah.
there's certain rules like that, even for the places that will provide you with a home that's got rules that a lot of the homeless do not want to follow. They can't. Some can't, some don't want to.
We all do, Urban. We all wish the best for everybody. This is
Hmm.
true, but it's just not happening. And I guess my biggest gripe was people saying, I don't want it in my neighborhood. Where are they supposed to go? That's my question, is if you don't want it in your neighborhood, where are they supposed to go? If they the- like I was saying, we have one man shelter here, we have one woman shelter here. They're always full to the capacity, and yet there's still more people that are willing but can't get in because they're always full to capacity. And so, it's it's not like a big city where they have different situations like Guardian saying, like these studios or whatever. And the men's and women's shelters is like you might have bunk beds and rows and rows and rows of bunk beds with for the men's shelter. It's bunk beds in one big room, rows
Hmm.
two, three
Right,
rows deep. And
right,
in women's shelter, you have these uh, closet size rooms that have two beds in them. Now sometimes it's a woman and her children in one of those rooms, with only two beds, children sleeping butt to butt, head yeah, head at each side. Um, but but it's in that situation that's not always safe and it's not always hygienic because not everybody is the same and thinks about their hygiene and they've had issues with head lice, bed bugs, um, things like that. So that would also be a reason why somebody would look and go, nah, I don't think I want to go there. I'm less likely going to get bed bugs and head lice out here in my tent. And so it just, there are just so many, and I just don't think it's right for them to, their homes to, which is a tent, to be bulldozed down because the neighborhood says, I don't want them here.
well, see,
And
that's where our communities and our government falls way behind. Because I would almost bet you every town has an empty motel, hotel, whatever, sitting around somewhere,
yeah,
or a military base that's not being used anymore. Why can't the government use some of our tax money for something useful, buy those places up if they can do it, and use those for the homeless people to get in? So
yeah,
our governments are lacking a lot.
yeah,
They
they
are
are.
failing the
They,
people.
okay, 300, what's your thought on all of this that we're talking about?
Okay, I think a lot of you. First of all, what's up, everybody? 300 in the house. A lot of people don't have don't have enough information about unless you've been homeless before yourself. Homelessness is the corporation is a $1 billion business for the government. They don't even want you to get back on your feet. And I tell you why. I used to be homeless, and I don't consider myself homeless. My wife got a full-time job. I'm staying home temporarily in my car to save money to move place, so I'm not homeless. Um, I used to be homeless, and I went to a shelter, and I got robbed. They stole all my shit, and then you have to take certain classes in order to qualify that you can apply for housing and stuff like that. And then they ask you, are you on drugs? I say no. Are you alcoholic? I say no. Are you mentally ill or so? I'm like, no, I don't have none of these issues. I just lost my job and lost my place. Oh well, in this case, we cannot help you. So they're not really trying to help you. Now, those who I'm from LA. I'm from the city where the headquarters of homelessness comes from. So the stuff that some people are here talking about is not true. They're not really trying to help you. Yeah, they're making money out of you. That's why these workers with these blue shirts who say, "Oh, yeah, we try to help you with housing." They take your social security number and each of us is just a damn number for them. They're not really helping anybody. Uh, I don't see that. I don't know what you guys see, but I disagree with almost everything you guys said. Where do they help you? Um, well, I need help. I need help me to find a place where I can actually work because I'm a worker. I'm not on my butt and live on the government. I have never lived on the government in my life. But these people are not really trying to help. That's just my opinion about that. If the country is so big, they could have built buildings for these people uh, and clean up the homelessness, save crime in public, but they don't. That's not their plan. Why is it that the homelessness is getting bigger and bigger? I mean, it's not like we are poor. This is this is the most powerful country on the planet. This country should not look like Sudan because that's what it looks like. Uh, go look, go look, go look at downtown LA after 3 p.m. You're not going to have the balls to walk on that street because there are so many homeless people on the street. Women and are pregnant and stuff. I mean, it's really disgusting. It's really sad. It's really sad to see that the government don't really care about humanity. I say so.
So,
By the way, I'm moving on Wednesday. After Wednesday, I have a place. So
okay, I thought you were staying in your car right now.
yeah, I
But
am. I am staying in my car. I am staying in my car
now,
and safe.
now,
Yeah.
what do you do, 300, about where you park? I mean, are you being run off? Do you have to move your car all the time? How
No,
hard is
no.
that to get to pay for gas and insurance and all of that?
Like I said, we have. It's not that we are broke. We have income. My wife works.
Yeah,
My wife has a good paying job. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not lacking on anything. I have gas. I have food. Uh, I smoke everyday cigarettes. I have no financial issues. I'm just
they
saving
do run
money
you
for
off though, right?
what?
From like if you're sitting like the other day when you were sitting waiting for your wife, didn't the
Oh,
gentleman come out and try to run you off?
I just park the car, go to the library, go online, or go in the stores and pick the furniture that we about to buy next week. And that's the kind of stuff I'm doing. Or I'm going live sometimes, you know.
Yeah, Pete is a really nice guy. So if you don't know Pete, please check him out.
So
And Pete,
you know,
you
I
can type.
wanna I wanna say very quick. If you ever become homeless, don't give up your hopes. Always fight because life is a fight. It's always about survival. Um, if if you haven't learned that yet, maybe it's time to learn that because every day is a fight. You fight every day to survive for the next day. And a lot of people, I have seen it myself. A lot of people become homeless and they lose their faith and hope, and they end up being homeless for the rest of their lives. I mean, I have been multiple times in that situation, but I always got back up. I mean, falling is easy, but climbing back up is it's the hard part about the whole story.
Yeah,
Because a lot
it's
of people fall and never try to get back again.
Well, and with the idea of helping all these homeless people and stuff, also keep in mind there are a few out there that are nothing but scammers.
Yeah.
And I've seen and been around both times. We had one at the store where I worked retail and what have you that was there every day going out holding a sign, getting money. Somebody caught him one afternoon, got into the brightest yellow sports car you've ever seen in your life. They
Yeah.
caught
Victoria,
he lived in one of the richest neighborhoods around here that there is. So he
Oh.
was out there bumming every day, scamming people, making his house and his car payments.
Victoria, can I tell you a story?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. I I just moved to I moved to Texas, right? I didn't have a car. I just got a job, got maybe my place for like 3 or 4 weeks. I came out of the bus. A lady asked me if I have $10. I said no, I don't have. And then she asked me if I have cigarettes. I said yeah, sure. Here, grab 4 or 5 if you want. Then she asked me if I have anything to eat. She said I have 3 children that I cannot feed right now. I said, well, I don't have $10, and I don't have anything to eat for you. But if you don't mind, you can come in my house. I will cook for you and your children. They came and stayed in my house for 3 months. I I asked my buddy because he has a company. I asked him, hey, can you do me a favor and hire this lady who stays in my house? She has 2 children. Um, he said, yeah, bring her the next day here, and then I will see what I can do.
So, what
And
did she do with her kids while she worked?
they were staying in my apartment. I mean, I
So,
was
you
I was
babysit?
what?
You babysit her kids for her?
No, they stayed in my house. I was working too, so I wasn't there to watch her children. But they stayed in the house. They were playing PlayStation and watch TV, things like that. But
They were
anyway,
old enough to be by themselves?
yeah, yeah. One was 14, one was 7, and the other one was 5. The oldest was much older.
Okay, gotcha.
You
So,
know. So
yeah.
then she came and she started crying, and she said she's so thankful what I'm doing for her. And she wanted to pay me money. When she got her first check. I said no, I don't want your money. You need to save your money because you need to find a place. How are you gonna find a place if you paying me? You will never find a place then. So anyway, I said save your money and I help you find a place. And till today's day we are best friends. She always calls me and always reminds me what I do for her and all this. And what I with this little story that I'm telling here is, if we don't support each other, if we don't help each other, we supposed to grow together. We have to help others to grow, not to uh, push on them and put them on the ground. And this is the only way I see how we can actually help each other to grow. But like the way it is here, I don't see no hope in reducing the homelessness. Because obviously the government don't give a damn about these people.
That's why we've got to do every little bit we can for them when we
Yeah,
can, you
right.
know. And the biggest thing we can do for them is stop pushing them out, making them feel and belittling them to the point of, oh, we don't want that in our neighborhood. I mean, you might go and say, hey, all this stuff that you got around you is it looks like garbage. Let us help you clean it up before you get everybody in this area kicked out. Try to talk to them, you
Mhm.
know, and help them keep the area clean. But to try to constantly get them kicked out of where they are,
I
yeah,
mean,
I just think that's cruel.
I mean, if we don't help to reduce the homelessness, this homelessness is gonna spread like a damn virus, and there's nobody who can save this. I mean, in L.A., I don't know if you familiar with Los Angeles, but
I am. I've been on
it,
Sunset
it
Boulevard in Hollywood.
downtown LA, you cannot walk in downtown LA without the mask because it's hazardous over there. The fire department comes there and flush with water to clean the streets because it's really disgusting, and they
Yeah,
don't
they'll.
do anything about it.
Yeah, I mean they have tried to put toilets out for them and garbage cans and stuff, but not all of them respect those toilets and garbage cans. And I don't know if it's true, but I heard right there on Sunset Boulevard where they were putting the porta potties, there would be other homeless that were bullies standing there trying to charge homeless people to use those porta potties and bullying them into paying to go into that toilet. And then being a woman, you just got to be really careful. You know, it's it can be really dangerous, and LA is one of the scariest places I've ever been. I mean, I stayed on Sunset Boulevard back then, and
Well,
back then it was dangerous.
I lived
And,
15 in LA,
and the
so
world has gotten no nicer, okay? It's gotten a whole lot worse since I was there. And the
right.
mentality is a lot more violent and different. And
Yeah, I mean
so,
the amount got bigger too, Victoria, especially after COVID.
yeah,
Um, when I was there, when I lived there, I moved in 2019. At the end of 2019, I left LA. There were like around 75 to 95,000 homeless people. Now there are over 250 to 300,000 homeless people. I mean, bigger than some large cities in other states. So
yeah, yeah, it's bad and it's all over the place. But like I said, the best that we can do is stop trying to run them out. Stop telling them
yeah,
they're worthy enough
right.
to stay
And
on.
when you want to learn prepping, you can learn a lot from homeless people.
Yeah, yeah, they've learned to
They know
survive.
they know where to find food. They know how to keep themselves warm. They know how to defend themselves. So they know a lot of stuff.
They just need a helping hand and they need people to get off their backs. And the best thing that I would suggest to a homeless person is look around you. If you see somebody there that is dumpster diving and garbage, getting garbage and just piling it around them, go up to that person and have a talk with them and tell them, hey, you're going to get us all kicked out of here when you don't even need that stuff. Keep your area clean. Kind of like when you go camping, leave no trace. Keep it as
Mhm.
clean as you can, and you're less likely to have
Uh,
issues.
it, it's simple to say that, Victoria. That you might gonna make yourself enemies if you go ahead and tell them that kind of stuff. There are some people they really don't care anymore. They don't go by law. They don't go by rules. They go by their own standards.
Uh, and that's the problem.
Yeah,
That's why
it's not that simple.
that's
Yeah,
why all of the tents get bulldozed and thrown away is because of the few that want to be dirty. And like I said, in my opinion, if they could just get together and try to get that from happening amongst themselves,
right.
they're less likely to have to worry about their homes being bulldozed down when they're gone trying to find a job or trying to get things going for themselves and come back and find out, well, you've got less than 24 hours to get your
And
stuff
do you know why Los Angeles is the headquarters of homelessness?
because it's warm.
No, not only that, and because what the government is offering, the benefits
Yeah,
that you get in California, you don't get nowhere else.
yeah.
You get
And it,
more food stamps in California than in Texas, for example.
but you have to have an address to get food stamps.
Well, you go to the food stamp office and you use their address. It's that simple.
You use the food stamp office as an address.
Yes.
Well, as far as I know, at least here where I'm at, you have to have a physical address and not the food stamp office. You
No,
have
no,
to have
no.
physical address.
Well, I don't know about Washington State, Victoria, but in California, in LA, at the food stamp office, they have a section where you can go and pick up your mail. Actually,
Well, that's cool. They don't have that nothing I'm telling you like that here, and they
Don't
won't.
have anything like that in Ohio either.
Yeah.
uh, yeah, like I
So
said, I mean, LA is, like I said, LA is the headquarters of homelessness. You got a lot of homeless people there, and the food stamp office they have there, they offer this kind of stuff, and they give you even bus tokens. They give you food stamps, and then on top of, you get $275 on food stamps in LA. So
that's
and
more
then
than I can get.
yeah, and then on top of that they go on the streets and beg for money or whatever, and then they can't even go to these restaurants, they whatever the leftover food they give them to homeless people. And then on the weekends there are bunch of people who come and make food and offer them food on the weekend or so, because the those shelters are pretty much closed on those days. They're
So
not
I guess what I'm going to ask is just help where you can. If you're a praying person, keep the homeless in your prayers. Pray for even those that are mentally ill, for the alcoholics and the drug addicts. Keep them in your prayers because God hears prayer. It's just my opinion.
I mean, for some people, Victoria, it's not a solution to put them in a shelter. Some of them have mental ill issues. They need
Mhm.
they need help. They need like serious help. Um, just feed them with food is not gonna fix their problems.
Well, they shut down a lot of mental institutions in a lot of states. Got a lot of the shelters were shut, or the mental institutions were shut down, and those people were just put right out on the street. So they need to bring those back for one.
Yeah, I said that
Mhm.
last year, Victoria. The the evictions are coming. I mean, we stayed for like a month in a motel, and we realized how expensive it is. And I have
Yeah.
seen so many people with their trucks and vans and cars completely packed with whatever they could carry with them. And it's sad. And the eviction is going to get even worse. More people will lose their jobs. You know, for example, IBM just fired 7,800 employees. And so evictions are around the corner, ladies and gentlemen. So uh, don't feel too comfortable with whatever income you might have right now. You should think about tomorrow because things can get worse.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm grateful for the time that I have had a home. I'm stable. I'm secure. I'm safe. I've got family
Good.
around me that support and love me. right now, and these are things I didn't have back then, and so I
Well,
cherish.
I mean, I can't even consider myself homeless because I own land. So even if it gets that bad that I say, you know, my wife can't even work anymore because her job is replaced by AI too or whatever, we still got land. We got plenty of land, so I'm not worried about it.
You can
But
always sell wood.
but but a lot of people don't have that. Their biggest issue is that they don't own land. Yeah, you might you might have prepped in your apartment in your rental home, but when your financial power disappears, I want to know where you're gonna go with all your stuff. You know,
Yeah.
so
You know, I even though we own our mobile home, we don't own the lot this mobile home sits on.
right, because that's what a lot of people gonna experience pretty soon. You know, more people losing their jobs, more people getting evicted. I mean, since 2020, this eviction has not stopped. I mean, they this ridiculous stimulus check. It's a joke, actually. You know, um, that 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 little amount is not gonna cover your entire year or the time till you find another job.
Yeah.
What stimulus check?
Yeah, this
That was years and
ridiculous.
years ago.
Yeah,
A
3 years
lot of years
ago.
ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago when they offered 1,400. You know, and then when I look at other countries, you know, I'm like, what a shame. You know, they supporting their people. They don't even experience homelessness. You know, because
I never
they.
got no 1,400. What?
I
Say,
have never.
what's that 1,400? I didn't get it.
Yeah, I didn't get it either.
All right. Well, everybody's quiet. Sarah, did you fall asleep?
Looks, or she
No,
went to grab
I was
something.
in a coughing fit.
Oh,
That's why, and then my dog started barking. That's why I muted it.
oh. Well, you and Sandy hasn't said anything in a little while either. And
But
Nate's never said nothing, I don't think, yet.
He
Except
can't
for
get a
hello.
word in.
He just
I
said,
just
"Nope, you
got
didn't have anything to
nice
contribute
to
to
meet you,
this
by the way.
conversation."
No,
Well,
but
I've been.
you know what?
Yeah,
This is what
you guys
people
talk for a
do.
minute. I gotta go to the ladies' room. I'll be back.
All right.
She's
Don't
going
leave
out.
nobody. Just talk to you. Talk.
No, I have a lot to say. I'm not leaving. You invited me, and
She's
I'm
going
here.
out for a cigarette.
Not gonna get rid of me. Then.
Hmm.
No, but I think, you know, that's what people don't don't think of when, especially preppers who live in apartments or rental places. You know, they stocking up on prepping supplies. You know, and then when it comes to that point where they do lose their job or they cannot stay in that place anymore and they have to leave, they don't even know where to go with all that stuff. You know. Um,
Hmm.
Now I have not prepped extremely. Yeah, I have some prepping stuff, but uh, at least I own land. You know, if I cannot stay somewhere, at least I can take my stuff and leave it on my land. You know, but that's a big issue I see here.
Well, I mean, you and Patricia are you're living in the car because of her job location, and it's
Yeah,
too far to travel from the
right,
land for her,
right.
to go back and forth to take her to her job.
Yeah,
But you guys were making headway with down payment on the apartment and everything, and it just took one illness, you know, for her to lose a couple days of work, and then you got sick, you know.
yeah,
So it's like you don't ever, just when you think that things are starting to level out and you're starting to climb that hill there's somebody up there with a boot to kick you back down it.
Yep. I mean, that's like 3.5 hour drive. That's like 7 hour drive every day. I mean, there's no way that we're gonna do that. I would have stayed on that land, but I don't want to leave my wife alone here. So that's why I said, I'm gonna come here and be around you till we have a place. And when we have a place, I'm gonna drive on that land, and you can drive back and forth to work, and then on the weekends you come down on the land, and we go from there. But I don't consider myself as homeless. Homeless, yeah, I will be homeless if I sleep on the street. I don't sleep on the street. I sleep in the vehicle, so that's not.
No, I
That's not
consider what you got. I consider what you and Patricia are doing is boondocking.
Yeah,
It's like people that have that live the van life. Where they just travel
Right.
around living in their vehicle, and But like I
Right.
said, it was just one illness that it puts a little bit of a dent in. You're anticipating. You're looking ahead, going, okay, if we save every single paycheck for this amount of time, then we can get into this apartment. And then she got sick, and then when you went to grow up,
Well, we
you
both got
were
sick.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So like I said, it's a constant climb out of the gutter.
Yeah. Sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes you think you make a step forward, and then suddenly you make steps back. But that's just how life is sometimes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all good. We are both warriors. We're not sitting on our butt. We're always pushing forward. So we're a good team, actually.
Yeah, you guys are a very good team.
What?
I said you guys are a very good team. You do have each other's back.
We support each other, and that is the only way how you can make it forward. If only one person is doing something, the other person doesn't do anything, then it's like you carrying a big rock with you and moving forward very slowly. But when both doing the same thing, then everything should be okay.
I agree.
And you need to have this mentality that you want to be a pusher. You always want to push forward. And if you just want to relax and say, "Oh no, it's okay. I am okay with with a piece of bread instead of a chicken," well then that's on you. That's on you then.
Yeah.
But yeah, next week I will be go live from my apartment, and then you guys can come on my channel if you like. I don't know everybody on your channel, Victoria. I don't know if you are back or not. Nice to meet everybody. So you can go and channel.
Oh, hi, Carrot.
Hey,
Hello.
Welcome in, welcome in. If you guys don't know King Carrot, this is King Carrot.
Hey, King Carrot.
How you doing?
greetings.
As somebody said in the chat, hi, Earthlings. Hi, Paul Warner. Thank you for coming in.
I was going to say it's my first royalty meeting.
Well, thank you, Sandy, for coming up. It's the first time I've gotten you to come up, so thank you.
Yeah, you talked about something I'm passionate about.
Yeah, good. I'm glad. And I usually won't bring this to my channel. This is the first for me, and we've only got 4 in the house. John Chalker, hello, from Waterbury, Connecticut. How are you
Hello,
tonight?
hello.
You got a lot of people on the show tonight.
What
Can I
was
say
that?
something real quick? Can I say something real quick to John?
Go ahead.
John, I apologize for what happened over on my stream. I kind of got taken over, and
Hmm.
it was just people talking over people. So that's why I was just like, I was just kind of letting you know, like, they've got their own conversation going on, and and I knew I wasn't going to be on that long anyway because I was coming over here. So, but anyway, I wanted to apologize for you dropping down.
We were having a conversation, John and She Devil, about the homeless. And Paul, you guys just stepped in. We now have 6 in the house. Thank you guys for.
Victoria, it's gonna get late for me. I need to wake up early. Thanks for having me, and everybody in the chat. Thank you for listening.
Well,
And
thank you for putting your 2 cents in. I appreciate it.
thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
You too.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Alley Cat. Good night, Guardian. Good night, Sandy.
Hello, John.
Hello. How you doing, Victoria?
Oh, I'm doing just fine. We were talking about the homeless tonight and the situation with them and how hard it is for them and how
What's going on with them?
I feel bad for them because, their life is hard. And then to have everybody saying, we don't want them here, where are they supposed to go? That's my biggest question tonight. If they can't be there and they can't be in the woods and they can't be anywhere, then what? What do people expect? I mean, they're homeless. Their lives are hard. Why make it harder? Help them with every little bit you can. And that's
Well, I think what we should do is that we have large amounts of resources, and we're not using those resources for anything good. So why not let them live in the forests? They're not going to hurt anybody there.
yeah, but I've seen camps, nice camps too. It wasn't like they were trashy. They were keeping up their garbage. They had people bringing in supplies to them, propane in the winter, and things they needed. They were setting up tables with foods and clothing every now and again, and what wasn't taken, they were cleaning up and taking back away. And yet those people were kicked out of that land, and it was fenced in, so they couldn't go back.
That's inappropriate. They should not have been thrown off of that property then. They
They
should
were
have done.
they were even hidden. It wasn't like they were eyesore where people could see them either. They were back in the trees where they were not visible. But it
We had
was
that case here in Waterbury, actually. A whole bunch of people made an encampment, okay, up by the Walmart. Okay, they were on the bus line, you know what I'm saying? But they were all the way in the back, on one side was a bank, and then there was this area, a wooded area, and it went all the way in the back, and somebody built a camp there. The police went in there and they trashed the whole place.
exactly. And this is what makes me feel so upset for them is that no matter even these people that are not hurting anything, they're not building trash, they have their own laws within their camps. They're keeping the violence and all of that down and taking care of each other, but yet still being run off. And
there's another thing. Why is it that we have a choice community right in thing called Slab City, okay, where nobody runs these people off, okay, and they leave them right there with no police or nothing. And there's not that they say, oh, there's a lot of violence here. That's what they try to say all the time. That's the code words they use.
Right. But the thing
Oh,
is,
there's a lot of violence over there and drug addicts.
Well, see, I live pretty close to Charlotte, so I understand. There was a concern back in like 2020 when a lot of people were unhomed and they were living in tents. But when I hear about people living in the woods, you would think that that's what you would want for homeless people, to go out and make their own community and build basically a small town, because that's kind of how this country got settled in the first place.
We used to have the tin can tourists that used to go all over the place, and nobody would bother them.
the issue with the people that are doing that, that are trying to be out of the view of the community, is unless they can get people to come in, like this one situation, they did have people coming in and bringing them propane and bringing them water and supplies and stuff. A lot of them,
they did. They made too. What happened was, I think what happened was, people bringing them in stuff. You see, what you got to do is, when you're homeless, I'm going to tell you, I was homeless for a while. Okay, when you're homeless, you got to be stealth as you can be. What they were doing was, by them bringing all those things in there, they basically lit a torch right underneath their camp.
yes, John, but how do you get supplies if you're way far out like that and you have no car? Okay, it's not that easy for them to hike every day or once a week, even way into town, get those supplies, and then carry those supplies on their back all the way back out to wherever they're camped. It's just not feasible. I mean, that is
Ma'am, it is feasible. When I was homeless, we had a lot of people who had these little grocery carriages. Now, I drive one of these little grocery carriages, and I go to the grocery store all the time, and I bring back supplies to my apartment. Now, there are homeless people that use these grocery carriages to go places to get what they need done.
Are you talking about shopping carts?
I have what is called a little grocery carriage. It can handle 300 pounds. And our homeless in Waterbury actually use these. They spend $40 for them at the local store, and they can handle 300 pounds. You could bring 2 bottles of propane in one of those bad boys. It's so good.
Yeah. But
and
still,
I've seen homeless people usually pack up together. So when they go out for supplies, okay, like I know that when I was homeless, we would pack up and everybody would buy one item and bring it back to the camp. See, what's going on was they did not do it in the stealth way. If it was done in the stealth way, they wouldn't even know they were there.
My question is, what is the issue with people who have no shelter making themselves a little encampment on government property in the woods? What is the issue with that?
It's the government that's the problem.
I can understand you don't want tent cities on the streets. I don't want tent cities on the streets, but out in the woods, there's no reason. Why can't they just do that? If you're not going to provide them shelter, then let them do for themselves the best they can.
And it's not like they're not doing it on government. It's public We are paying. We, the citizen, pay for these properties that they're having issues to be on. We pay for that, but yet the government has issues with it. And
Because what happens is it costs them more money. See, one person in the shelter, okay, the government will give that shelter up to $50,000.
Hmm.
but the
Now, if
shelter,
that person's not in the shelter, they don't get that money. They got to have your social security number and all of that written down so that they get that government money.
Sarah
That's
left.
what 300 was talking about.
I told you, it's all about money.
Well, that's true.
Now-
Nonprofit agencies do that. They do get paid per person they serve. That is true.
Yes, they do. I know for a fact. I was talking to a friend of mine who runs, because I was homeless. I did spend some time in St. Vincent de Paul. I actually worked there for a while. I found out they get $50,000 per head, per bed, to fill those beds from the government. And the government, of course, is going to do, if you only have a 10 or a 20 bed facility, okay, and they don't want no big bed facilities either. You know how, like, Connecticut used to have Fairfield Hills and all of that? We were saying, hey, why don't we turn Fairfield Hills into a homeless shelter? They didn't want to do it because they wanted the smaller bed facilities throughout the state instead of them all being in one place.
There was a guy in LA that was building small, like little push cart type houses with solar panels on the top for people. And the government went in and gathered up those, and he was doing it for free. I mean, what started him doing was a lady that was sleeping on a sidewalk in front of his house, and she endeared herself into this gentleman's life. So he built her one. After that, he got other people involved, and they started building these little with doors that locked where they could go in there, and they were awesome. Little with four rolling, those turning rolling wheels on them, so they could push their homes around and lock themselves in at night. They had solar panel on there to have some power to charge their cell phones or, small powered things. But yet the government had an issue with it for some reason, or the city, whatever. But they gathered them up and took them away. Well, they gave back some of them, but when they gave them back, the solar panels were gone and some of the windows were missing. And they took apart the pieces and parts of it until finally this guy stopped doing the good deed he was doing, which was helping people. And it would have got rid of the tents and put these cute little wooden push houses. And I was like, why? Why would they do that?
Because they thought it was blighting up the area, probably. But it wasn't. It was actually decorating the area a lot better. The tents, see, a tent city is blight. It makes blight. Okay?
Yeah.
Look like in California. Not California, Washington State, where they had all these homeless people living in RVs.
We have a bit of that here too, and they're constantly happen to be towed away because they're breaking down. And again, it's like it becomes a blight when it's broken down. The windows are broken in it. It looks god awful.
Then they have to take those away.
Right.
But in certain cities now, the laws are that if it is not broken down, you can live in it on the side of the road.
But they're
like in
purposely making people homeless. Like, for instance, here in where I live, right across the bridge, there was a mobile home park. Well, years ago, they evicted the people and gave them $200. Okay, for their mobile homes, the ones that couldn't afford got $200. They were evicted from their mobile homes. The mobile homes were gotten rid of out of there. And that lot, this has been before everybody got the C thing. It was before all of that. That lot is still empty. They made old people homeless because supposedly they wanted that lot, which was prime property for the river right there, and yet nothing's being done with it in a lot of years, and people was made homeless because of it. These are things that I don't understand.
I don't
What
understand it either. The government is kind of confusing.
I
They'll
can't
take
see.
a piece of property, okay, for infinite domain, and then just knock down whatever's there and just leave it there empty.
Yeah, and they've done that here, and it's just I get totally flabbergasted because they purposely made those people homeless, and
Hmm.
for no reason, because they still haven't done anything.
And what was the project they took those homes for?
My laptop is still overheating. I have not taken it into the Geek Squad. I I know I need to. I just don't want to give it up. I don't know how long they're going to keep it.
Well, best to get it done, get it in there, get it done, because the faster you get it in, the faster they're going to get it done.
Well, I don't even know if I mean it could be Polarian thinks it needs cleaned, but I don't know if they even do that. If they clean it, I
Ma'am, I'm going to tell you what's wrong with your system. I know. It happened to me 3 times. Your intercooler is shot. There's a small little fan inside your thing. When it dies or starts to die, it'll let the rig overheat. If you leave it too long, it will fry your chip.
well, no, I can hear the fan clicking on, John.
Yeah, it'll click on and it'll click off, but the fan motor is dying in it.
Well, I hope not because I paid over $1,000 for this laptop, but and I can't afford
It should be
another.
still under warranty then.
No, it isn't. I've had it probably about 4 years now. So no, the warranty was only for a year, so I don't have a warranty on it. I'm just
Okay,
hoping.
then the unit itself should cost you about $100. The part should cost you $100. And the 2 hours time to put in should cost you another $100.
Well, if the Geek Squad even does that kind of thing, I don't know, but I know I'm paying them $214 a year to do nothing at this point. So I actually need to take it into them and say, hey, I'm having issues, and see what they can do. But I just don't. It's hard for me to give it up because I've got an HP that does not have any power to it. I glitch, I freeze up, lots of issues with that one. But that's the one I fall back on when I have to. So,
I
but
know.
I've been on here over 2 hours now, and I hate to do it to you, but I'm gonna have to call it a night. And
Good night.
some of you just got up here with me and haven't even said anything, Carrot.
Well, I got some new stuff you asked me about the microphones one time that I said I was going to get.
Uh,
Take a look, sweetheart. I got them.
awesome. Glad you got them.
And guess what? These are cheap. They're not expensive.
No, I asked you about the little packs that a long time ago you said you were making for me and Sarah, and
I'm still working on those. I've been trying to get the last part I've been trying to get is out of stock still.
VIP
Driving me
comment.
crazy.
Hold on. This one to me. If everyone would please. Oh yes, Timmy's dad is got cancer, so please everybody, if you can pray for Timmy Ray's dad, I would greatly appreciate that. So, but yeah, I'm gonna have to go, you guys. It is getting late, and we've been on here for over 2 hours.
Good night, everyone, and I'll see you
And
around.
here's Lauren's comment to what you were saying, um, John. Do you see the comment?
Yeah, I see it. I'm having trouble reading it though.
Says no, 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 John Chalker. Modern laptops have temperature sensors. They monitor the temperatures and adjust the fans as needed. And see, I let Polarian get into my laptop the other day and look at what was
Oh,
going
okay.
on.
Oh, he did look into inside?
Oh,
Because-
Sandy, I didn't see you drop down.
All right,
Yeah.
sis. Well,
All
because
right.
in the older laptops, we used to have these fans, and when these intercoolers would go, that would be it.
All right. Well, I'm going to play a little music and then I'm closing it down for the night. I hope you guys want to hear a little music. And Karen, I'm sorry you didn't get to say much, but thank you for coming up. And I'm sorry. Maybe next time you'll get to talk. Sorry. I can't hear you. No?
Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to Mississippi on Monday. I finally got a job. I'll be driving a truck, so
Awesome.
just a
I'm
little bit of
glad to
good.
hear you got it. Congratulations and good luck. And I hope you can make a career of that. My daughter's a truck driver, so, well, you know that, but. All right. Well, I am going to say good night and get a hold of me once you get working. Hey, let me know how it's going.
Definitely.
All
Sounds
right.
good.
I'm going to play a little bit and then I'm going to say good night to everybody. Hold on. We got it on. Yeah. Hold on. I got to adjust it a little bit. I'm not picking it up. And with that, God bless. Stay safe and stay awesome. Because you know what? Each and every one of you is awesome. And thank you for coming in tonight. I appreciate all of you. Sorry it's so late. Gotta do it when I can do it. But I appreciate you. And this isn't out of the norm for me, the subject matter anyway. Next time it'll be a more soothing and calm one again. Even though I tried to keep this one kind of calm. But it was an issue that was bothering me. And I appreciate you guys for sitting in there with me and putting your 2 cents in. So God bless. Stay safe. Stay awesome. See you next time.